My beloved child. There is a reason you stopped on these words today. It was not an accident. It was not random. Someone has been trying to tell you something for longer than you realize. They searched for the right moment. They searched for the right silence. They searched for the moment when your heart would finally become quiet enough to notice what your eyes have been missing. You have felt it before. A strange feeling that someone wanted to speak but stayed silent. A conversation that ended too quickly. A smile that carried more meaning than words could ever explain. You believed those moments meant nothing. But they never disappeared from your memory. That is because they were never ordinary. They were pieces of a message that has been following you. Every day it has grown stronger. Every day the signs have become clearer. Yet something inside you kept saying, "Wait. There is more." And today, that more has finally arrived. Before this message reaches its final meaning, you must promise yourself one thing. Do not rush your thoughts. Do not decide too early. Because what you are about to understand could completely change the way you see someone close to you. Long before this day arrived, a quiet change began around you. It did not happen with loud sounds or dramatic moments. It happened in tiny details that most people ignore. Someone looked at you differently. Someone paused before speaking your name. Someone remembered something about you that nobody else noticed. These moments looked small. But together they formed a pattern. A pattern that has been growing stronger with every passing day. The strange part is that the person trying to tell you something may not even know how important their message truly is. Their heart speaks louder than their voice. Their actions reveal more than their words. Every silence carries meaning. Every unexpected appearance carries purpose. Every coincidence feels just a little too perfect. Ask yourself honestly. How many strange moments have happened recently that you simply called luck? What if they were never luck at all? What if they were quiet invitations leading you toward a truth that has been waiting patiently for you to notice? There is one detail almost everyone overlooks. The biggest messages rarely arrive through perfect conversations. They arrive through unfinished moments. Through interrupted plans. Through words left unsaid. Through expressions that disappear before anyone else notices them. That is exactly why this message has remained hidden for so long. It was never supposed to be obvious. It was supposed to be discovered. Think carefully about the last time someone suddenly became unusually quiet around you. Think about the last unexpected compliment. Think about the last person who appeared exactly when you needed encouragement. Those memories are connected in ways you cannot yet see. They are forming a picture. But one important piece is still missing. Without that final piece, nothing will make complete sense. And when it finally appears, you will understand why every strange feeling led you here today. Something even more surprising is about to happen. The message itself is only the beginning. Hidden behind those silent signals is another truth that almost nobody expects. It is not simply about what someone wants to say. It is about why they waited this long to say it. Timing changes everything. Some truths become powerful only when they arrive at the exact right moment. If they come too early, they lose their meaning. If they come too late, they lose their chance. But this moment feels different. Everything around you has slowly moved into place. Every delay suddenly has a purpose. Every unanswered question suddenly has a reason. Someone has been carrying words inside them that refuse to disappear. Those words have grown heavier with every passing day. They are closer than ever to being revealed. But before they reach you, one final unexpected sign will appear. And when it does, you will never look at recent events the same way again. Now listen carefully. Because this is where everything begins to shift. The next moment you least expect may feel completely ordinary. It may happen during a simple conversation, a familiar place, or even a quiet moment when nothing seems unusual. Yet hidden inside that ordinary moment will be something extraordinary. A sentence, a glance, a memory, or a tiny detail that suddenly unlocks everything. You will realize that the message has been surrounding you from the very beginning. Nothing was random. Nothing was wasted. Every small event was leading toward one unforgettable realization. But the most astonishing part has not been revealed yet. The true meaning behind everything is still waiting. And when it finally comes into the light, even the strongest expectations will feel too small for what is about to be understood. Everything becomes even more mysterious from this point. The message has been moving closer with every passing moment. Yet the most fascinating part is that it has never forced its way into your life. Instead, it has waited with incredible patience. Think about the people who crossed your path recently. One of them carried something they wished you could understand without needing a single explanation. They believed actions would speak louder than words. They hoped you would notice the small changes. The longer they waited, the stronger their emotions became. Every passing day added another layer to a story that remained hidden beneath ordinary conversations. You may have smiled at them without realizing what that smile meant. You may have walked away while they were hoping you would stay just a little longer. Those tiny moments now hold a meaning that is impossible to ignore. The closer you look, the more everything begins connecting in ways that once seemed impossible. There is another layer that almost nobody sees the first time. Sometimes the greatest truth hides inside the smallest habit. A familiar greeting. A repeated question. A glance that lasts 1 second longer than expected. These moments seem ordinary until they begin repeating themselves. Then suddenly, they no longer feel random. They feel intentional. Someone has been leaving quiet clues because they were searching for the perfect opportunity. They wanted certainty before revealing what has remained inside their heart for so long. Every hesitation carried hope. Every pause carried expectation. Every unfinished sentence carried meaning. You may have believed they were simply being polite. But their silence has always contained far more than simple kindness. They have been hoping that one day you would finally recognize what words alone could never fully express. Now something remarkable begins to unfold. Imagine discovering that every confusing moment from the recent past was quietly preparing you for one unforgettable realization. That strange feeling you could never explain. That unexpected encounter. That familiar face appearing at exactly the right time. None of it stood alone. Every piece belonged to the same hidden picture. The picture has almost become complete. Only one final detail remains unseen. And strangely enough, that missing detail does not come from someone else. It comes from you. The moment you begin trusting what your heart has quietly noticed all along, everything changes. Suddenly the silence speaks. Suddenly the unanswered questions begin answering themselves. Suddenly memories that once felt meaningless become impossible to forget. It is as though an invisible door has slowly opened without making a sound. But do not believe the story ends there. In fact, this is only where the real mystery begins. Because the message itself carries another message hidden inside it. Someone is hoping you will understand more than their words. They want you to recognize their intention, their patience, their sincerity. They have chosen this quiet path because they believe that genuine understanding cannot be rushed. It must arrive naturally. Every delay protected something valuable. Every unanswered moment strengthened what was waiting beneath the surface. The closer you move toward this realization, the more clearly you will recognize that nothing important ever disappeared. It simply remained hidden until the perfect moment arrived. That perfect moment is now drawing closer than ever before. You were still becoming the person capable of understanding it. If it had arrived before this moment, it would have sounded ordinary. Today, it carries a completely different meaning. Today, every word feels heavier. Every clue feels clearer. Every unanswered question feels closer to becoming an unforgettable answer. Now everything begins moving toward a moment that cannot be repeated. Somewhere ahead, a simple interaction will seem strangely familiar. It may begin with an ordinary sentence, a familiar expression, or a memory that unexpectedly returns. But hidden inside that moment will be the final clue you have been missing. It will not demand your attention. It will quietly earn it. And when your heart recognizes what your mind almost overlooked, you will realize that this journey was never about coincidence. It was about perfect timing. Every delay protected this exact moment. Every unanswered question guided you toward this exact realization. Every silent sign was preparing you for what comes next. And still, the greatest revelation has not yet been spoken. There is one truth that changes the meaning of everything before it. The moment that truth appears, every piece of this mystery will finally connect. The silence will make sense. The waiting will make sense. The message will make sense. But that final truth deserves its own moment. Because once it is revealed, you will never be able to look back at this story in the same way again. The moment has almost arrived. You can probably feel it even now. There is a strange sense that something important is just beyond your reach. That feeling is not here to confuse you. It is here to prepare you. The person who has been trying to tell you something has carried this message longer than anyone realizes. They have watched ordinary moments become extraordinary without saying a single word. They have hoped that one day you would notice what could never be explained through simple conversation. Every smile that seemed a little different. Every pause that lasted a little longer. Every unexpected return after a long silence. None of it was meaningless. Each moment quietly whispered the same truth. Please look deeper. The remarkable part is that you were never as far from understanding as you believed. You were only one realization away. Then something unexpected begins to happen. The pieces that once looked scattered suddenly start fitting together with surprising clarity. A forgotten memory returns at exactly the right moment. A familiar face reminds you of something you overlooked. A simple sentence echoes in your mind with an entirely new meaning. Suddenly, what once felt ordinary becomes impossible to ignore. You realize that the message has never changed. Only your understanding has changed. That is why everything feels different today. Your perspective has shifted. The hidden pattern is no longer hiding. It has quietly stepped into the light. And once you see it, you cannot pretend it was never there. This is the kind of realization that gently changes the way you understand people. It changes the way you remember the past. It even changes the way you expect the future to unfold. But there is one final layer that makes this story unforgettable. The message was never only about what someone wanted to say. It was about what they hoped you would discover on your own. Genuine understanding becomes far more powerful when it is recognized instead of explained. That is why every silent clue mattered. That is why every small detail stayed with you. They were never asking for attention. They were inviting awareness. And now that awareness has finally arrived, you can almost hear the meaning behind every unspoken moment. You can almost understand why every delay became necessary. Nothing important was ever lost. It was simply waiting for the exact moment when your heart and your mind would reach the same conclusion together. As everything settles into place, one thought remains brighter than all the others. Some messages do not arrive to change a single day. They arrive to change the way an entire journey is remembered. This is one of those moments. The story that once seemed incomplete now feels connected from beginning to end. Every unanswered question has guided you toward greater clarity. Every quiet moment has carried purpose. Every unexpected feeling has led you closer to the truth. And now you understand why they were trying to tell you something all along. Not because they wanted to create mystery, but because some truths become meaningful only when they are discovered at the perfect time. The journey may feel complete. Yet a new chapter quietly begins the moment this realization settles within you. From now on, you will notice details you once ignored. You will recognize sincerity that once seemed ordinary. You will understand that the most meaningful messages are often spoken without a single dramatic moment. They reveal themselves through patience, through consistency, through quiet presence. And perhaps the greatest surprise of all is this. The message you have finally understood is not the end of the story. It is the beginning of a completely new way of seeing everything that comes next.